So let's do some refactoring. The one thing that I don't like, and I've already mentioned, is that we creating those tabs pretty much like copy pasting the code, and that's never good. So let's write a function that will actually make that. And the one I want to use is the factory function. So a factory function is design pattern that you can read more about it. In general, it creates a new object over class or new objects or new sort of stubs or whatever you want to do. You can use, there's also abstract factory method, class, sorry, but in JavaScript, the functional flavor to it allows me to use the factory methods for most of the stuff. So let me show you what I mean. So an example of the factory method would be like this. I like to start with the word make. Some people like to start with the word create. It's totally up to you. Then I say make users stop or users model stop. In here, I say how many times I want to create it, and then what is the return type, which is an array of user models. And in here, I go through the array. I map for the amount of counts that I want to do, and then I just append using template strings. I want to append like the current number, so it's pretty much given the same thing as before. So now I'm gonna go ahead and whatever I use this one, I'm just gonna use the sorry, make user stop, and the beauty of it is you can create as many as you want. I mean, that can be totally random number, which also touches upon something called fuzzy testing, in which you just, you never do the same amount of the functions, sorry, the amount of data you want to put in, because you just want to stress your system a lot better than it is now. For now, I'm just going to keep it static. So I do the make user stop, let's say 5, it doesn't matter. And then here, make user stop for 3. Yep. And now when I run the test, sure now it's passing. And it's pretty funny because now when I want to, I don't know, test 2 versus 3 or whatever, that should still work. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that I would like to change is, as I mentioned also already, in the given state, a lot of time I'm just making this user state and I do it in the before each. thing I don't quite like is that this thing is really checking the count of the users, and in a lot of cases, that will not represent the actual. Like you could be lucky with it. So what we want to do is we want to check that the users array is an actual array that we return from the service. So in order to do so, what you can do is that in the initial state, you want to give it an empty array that the user should equal an empty array. In the case of like initializing an empty state and then calling the load users on the first one, it should be the actual stub. And then in the last case, it should be the new user stub. So once this is done and we run the test, we should still passing. Yeah. There's I would like to get rid of this one as the next thing, but in order to do it, I would like to actually support something called count. So the count here will represent the user count. For now, you could do it in the smart component, of course, but I think it's better to keep all your data about the state in the state, and then it's easy to maintain that way, even if it's such a simple thing like count.